Welcome to the Indie Music Room, a conversation with independent artists about writing, recording, performing, and promoting their original music. And now here's your host, Heather Kelly.
Hey everybody, you're listening to Heather Kelly with the Indie Music Room, and we are here. I'm getting ready to interview the guest for the month of July. I can't believe it's midsummer already, but you guys are going to love this guy. He is a New York native. His name is Tim Stout, and I look forward to you guys hearing all about him. Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, happy to be here.
I'm glad to hear that. You've had a hectic day, it sounds like. I'm glad I caught you when I did, so I appreciate this. Why don't you give everybody a little bit of a background about your music, what you do, how you got involved, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I guess starting way back, I'm from Dobbs Ferry, New York, which is just north of New York City. And a pretty important part of the whole journey is when I was about 6 years old, my father was working in the World Trade Center, and he passed September 11th. And for a number of years, I was very withdrawn and just kept to myself until I kind of discovered performance. And around the age 10, I started coming out of my shell, and I was able to express things through performance that I just couldn't for a number of years. So,
of course, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. Everybody, I'm sure, everybody, that was a traumatic time, and I'm very sorry that it affected your family that way.
Yeah.
So about 10 is when you kind of started coming out of your shell, and then what happened?
Around age 14, I started playing guitar, mostly self-taught, and I started kind of writing little bits of songs here and there until I was about in college. And then there was a lot of just kind of turning inward and writing a lot more of my songs until graduating from college. I was gigging for a couple of months in coffee shops and whatnot.
By yourself, or did you?
By myself.
Oh, by yourself. Okay.
So it was really just me and a loop pedal for quite some time. I've found out about it and was kind of like, with this, I won't have to pay for a band every time I have to, play a gig. So
and did you self-taught yourself, or you ever have lessons, or just picked it up?
I had some guitar lessons early on. But for the most part, self-taught. Maybe a month I had a teacher,
Oh my gosh. You just have natural talent, obviously.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So around that time, a little after college, I was gigging for a couple months by myself, and I got the opportunity to open for Alan Stone at Brooklyn Bowl.
Man.
Which was a sold out show and an absolute dream come true. And
how did that come about? That's a really big, that's a big thing. That's a big honor. How'd that come about?
Yeah, I bought a ticket for the show, and there was a little link, like a tiny link at the bottom saying, enter for a chance to open for Alan Stone.
Okay.
And I figured, let's take a shot. Why not? Yeah. And they called me up like a few days before the show, and they said, like, we like what you have to offer, and Alan likes your sound. And I was like, Alan likes my sound. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was wild.
What kind of crowd was it? I mean, where did you play at first and foremost?
It was the Brooklyn Bowl in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So it's like half concert venue, half bowling alley, restaurant, bar.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And it was kind of surreal walking into sound check and just watching him play with his whole band. Yeah. And I'm the only one in the audience, because it was cool.
Nerve-wracking too, though.
Nerve-wracking. Yeah. I was definitely a little pitchy listening back to the show.
You and I have talked about that. I've done that before too. And I was telling you, we opened up for REO, and then when you listen back, you're like, I could have done so much better, but your nerves, you're like, you know what I mean? So many people.
And it happened so early in my career as an artist that I think I was ready to play, but I wasn't completely ready to do my absolute best. But I guess you jump in and when the opportunity strikes, right?
So did your family, I always got way nervous if people I knew showed up, like my family members or friends. That's when I got nervous. But if it's just people like I don't know, I'm like, whatever. But who showed up for you, or how did that go?
I kind of have the opposite feeling sometimes.
Really?
Where if somebody I know is in the audience, I can think to myself, all these strangers might not like me, but I know that I'm playing for at least that one person out there who's here specifically to see me.
They gotta love you, right? No matter what.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're going to be there, but they're there for me then. And, you know, I'm going to deliver. So
Very cool. That's
Yeah.
It's interesting that you found that little submission, at the bottom of that in fine print. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And just took a chance on it. And it was a really big affirmation, kind of saying, like, you have some kind of talent here, something
Yeah.
that people actually want to listen to. So,
On the right path.
right.
Right, exactly. Tell me a little bit about your songwriting process. Like I used to write a lot when I was going through something. That's kind of how I wrote about it. And my mom would always say, Heather, don't write such sad songs. And I'm like, that's how I'm feeling, Mom. And so
Sure.
I don't know how you go about your inspiration. Tell me about it a little bit.
Yeah. What's kind of funny about it is I usually start just me and a guitar, or me
Mhm.
and the loop pedal and the guitar, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But it's never like I'm ever feeling one thing for a very long time and then getting it out. They kind of just come in bursts. A lot of the best songs, I think, come in like 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. And there have been times where I wasn't feeling a particular way about something, and
Mhm.
this melody brings something to me, like a specific feeling to me, and then I can expand on the feeling. But more often than not, I have a melody that I've got in my head and I just want to fill it out. And I usually do so by myself organically with the acoustic.
Sure.
So,
Do you
yeah.
find that you find the music first, or do you ever have do you do it like lyrically first, or do you write the lyrics after?
I guess it kind of depends on the song.
Okay.
Usually it's melodically first because it's easier to set lyrics to the melodies.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll have a phrase that I really like,
Yeah.
and I'll keep it, and I'll say, okay, I don't know what to do with it yet, but I know it's going to come up. And then down the line, it could be a couple minutes, it could be a couple months.
Yeah.
Some melody strikes, and I'm like, that's
That's
the
what it
idea
was
right
for.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Do you always jot your stuff down and go back to it, or do you just kind of put it mental or your phone? A lot of people nowadays talk in their phone. I'm older, so I didn't
Yeah.
do that, but
My voice memos is probably the most used app on my phone. My voice memos and my notes. It's just, and some of it's just incoherent babble, like waking up and just, I've got a melody, let me try it out.
yeah,
But yeah, that's how I get them down
that
usually.
is so cool.
Mhm.
I always, I worked in a analog studio, and we'll talk about your recording experience in the next segment. But
Mhm.
I always found that and I'm also self-taught on piano, but I would kind of come up with a song. But I would always, before I even tried to write a song, I would have like in what I would call like the hook, like in my idea what the hook is going to be, what it's about,
Right.
and then go around it. So I love to ask
Yeah.
how you go about that.
Yeah,
Tell
it's
me
usually
about
hook first.
the
Yeah.
hook. Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
what you were saying when you get that one part? Is that kind of what you were saying? Was that's the
It's
main?
more often the hook than anything else, for sure.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
like you're saying, it's the core of the song. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, lyrically speaking, from one artist to another, you are a very good lyricist. I find that that's really difficult to put into words or in a feel what you want to say into to music. That's kind of hard to do because, you've got the flow, like not that you got to rhyme everything like a poem, but it's got a flow in telling the story, and you're a really good storyteller through your music. So
Thank you.
I love it. Why don't you
Thanks.
tell me a little bit about the first song we're going to share with our guests today, our fans today? It is called "Live to Serve."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote this one a while back, and I included it. It was one of the singles on my debut EP, The Key to Happy Living.
Okay.
They're all songs that are just very upbeat, and
Great.
it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the key to happy living. So, but this particular idea was a really exciting one, and I wanted to kind of pay homage to all that kind of old disco sort of stuff, Donna Summer, and that's really what the song is a kind of modern disco sort of jam.
That I did notice that listening to your music, it's all really good listening. I wondered, I was kind of curious, and we'll talk about it later on, but are you just working alone? You're doing all this on your own. You don't have people or come in to a studio, or are you just doing all this pretty much recording on your own?
Gotcha. I I usually get the demo down by myself and I take it to a producer. I'll fill in some of the guitars and the vocals, and he will do just about all the other stuff. So between the two of us, it's really just.
And who's your producer?
I've worked with a couple of them. Primarily, I work with a guy named Cale Hawkins. He's out of Brooklyn. Great musician. And another one for the most recent single, his name is Rich Huarto. He's also out of Brooklyn.
Okay. So. Well, they know their stuff because your music sounds great. With that said, let's go ahead. I'm trying to get my lighting right here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, to my monthly fans, I am definitely not in my regular work clothes. I am on vacation, so I'm making do with what I've got here. But with that said, let's take a listen to Tim's song, Live to Serve. And with that, we'll be right back with you.
Listen, baby, I've got to tell you how glad I am that you're my lady and I'm a man. 'Cause you bring to the table a special kind of flavor. Tell me just what I can do to return the favor. Whatever you want, whatever you need, baby, don't be shy. I'm here to keep you sated. I aim to satisfy. Whatever you want, whatever you need, baby, say the word. The key to happy living is to keep on giving. So girl, I live to serve. I live to serve. I've never been with nobody before who wants to know just what's inside. What's inside? No one wants to take my hand. They'd rather take me for a ride and get gone. But you're not like that. No, you're a different case. You say you wanna dive in deep. Let's share our inner space. Whatever you want, whatever you need, don't be afraid to ask. Talk is cheap when it comes to loving, so put me to the task. Whatever you want, whatever you need, baby, say the word. The key to happy living is to keep on giving. So girl, I live to serve. I live to Whatever you want, whatever you need, tell me when and where. I'd do anything for you to show just how I care. Whatever you want, whatever you need, tell me, say the word. The key to happy living is to keep on giving. So girl, I live to serve. I live to serve.
And that was Live to Serve. Great song. Great song. I'm so excited to share with our fans this month your single that's just been released. We'll do that towards the end of the show. But why don't you also tell me a little bit about your recording process? You said you kind of get the demo done. Do you have like Pro Tools at home? Is that what you do?
Yeah, either Logic or Ableton. And I usually kind of get my one mic and my little Focusrite, and there's not a lot to the setup. It's very bedroom pop kind of DIY setup. But then we take it into the studio, and for a number of years, we were working out of this tiny room in Brooklyn that just had a bunch of instruments and very little space to move around. And the closet, it was like a broom closet, coat closet, was repurposed as a mic booth. So
I've been in studios like that. What did you think about, see, the guy that I've worked with for almost 17 years now, he's been an engineer and a musician for 50 years. So point being, he listened to your music and he thought that's a very cool sound vocally. Like you've got a really intimate sound. And do you think that it's just, I mean, your approach being minimalistic, like I've heard you say, you know, do you think that's what it is? Or do you guys use a lot of reverb or delay on your voice? Or is it just kind of, what's the producer like to do with your voice?
Yeah, I guess it's a couple of things. I do like to keep it minimal to begin with. You know, too many cooks spoil the broth. I think that's
yes,
yeah.
You're right. I've never heard that saying. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but when we're in the studio and we're doing vocals, oftentimes I'll have him put a little bit of reverb on me, but I'll get real close to the mic and it's very much a conversation. Like I'll sing out some of it and he'll give me a note, like really like you're whispering it into the person's ear or, you know, like you're talking right to her. Right. So we really go for an intimate approach to the vocals and then kind of build the rest out in terms of effects and reverb and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So when you're get real close to the mic like that, he must have it tuned into your headphones where it's pretty hot. So you don't have to, like, you're just barely speaking or singing the phrase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the mixes too will have the vocals pretty up front, depending on the kind of tune, but I'm very lyrically based and I like to make sure that the lyrics and the words are heard.
Yeah. Very cool. I love it. Oh my gosh. So have you ever worked with other players on band? Like, for example, when you said you opened up for that show, you know, that Stone, I forget his first name.
Alan Stone,
Stone. So did you just go up and play by yourself with your looping or did you have anybody else playing with you or do you get together with other musicians?
Yeah, sometimes I play full band. It's, you know, on a rare occasion, but for that specific gig, I had hired a friend of mine from college who is an incredible drummer, and he played cajon and djembe for me, and I played the guitar parts, and we did the looper stuff as well. So,
is there anywhere on YouTube you could access that performance?
Not that one.
Not that you're aware of? Okay, cool. No. I just thought we would take that on if there was, but that's so fun you got to do that. Yeah. Cool. Well, why don't you tell me about the next song, Speak Up. I love this song. I want to hear why and how you wrote this song.
It was one of those things where my brother, he had been in this relationship that wasn't doing him any good, and he had a really hard time expressing that. And I wanted to just pour out my love to him, but I was also so frustrated. So there's some real, I don't want to say anger in the song, but there is definitely a sort of aggression about it that, you know, it's a matter of urgency, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it's really just about advocating for yourself when you feel like you can't, because it's always an option.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you older brother?
I am. I'm the oldest of 5, if you include my step siblings.
So, oh my God. Yeah. You got a whole handful. Okay, wow. No, when I heard this song, I thought for sure, and this is interesting, but my sister is flying in from California and she's been going through, you know, a situation and you know, you want to give advice, and you get frustrated, but you don't want to overstep and stuff. Sure. So I think I'm going to go ahead and play this song for her on our drive home from the airport today, because I think she'll get the point. But very cool. So how did it turn out with your brother?
Great. Yeah, he's doing well now.
So he spoke up, huh?
Yeah, he spoke up, and that was all. We actually had to do a little bit of a role play where I pretended to be the girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
And he was. Yeah. And I was like, well, why would you say such a thing? It was funny at the time, and still pretty funny, but it all worked out. So
you know what I like is, unfortunately, we know that you lost your father, but it sounds like you sure stepped up to take that role for your younger siblings. So I really admire you for that.
Yeah, you can't just go down.
Yeah.
You can't go through life with your head down the whole time, you know? And I think I was able to really figure that out because of music and performance. So
you can feel it, you know, with your performances that it's definitely an outlet for you. So, and thank God that we have you, because it'll reach many people. So
Yeah.
with that said, let's listen to Speak Up, and we'll be back with Tim right after this.
It's clear you're afraid of words. You abstain yourself from speaking. Can't take away the words, so you'll be crushed right underneath them. 'Cause they'll cut you deep without spilling blood, leaving it to boil instead. What you need is a thicker skin, and to get it through your thick, thick head, to speak up. What's the use of keeping it inside? Speak up. You can bottle up your feelings, but you sure can't hide, no. You sure can't hide, no. It's clear you have an opinion, and think it best not to share it. I'll tell you right now, if that were the case, you wouldn't form one in the first place. No, don't kid yourself. If you wanna be small, why stop there? Why bother being anything at all? See, you've been lying to me, you've been lying to you. Well, I hope you made your bed, 'cause you can lie in that too. Now speak up, as if you don't have a choice. So speak up. Why else would you have a voice? Speak up. Let it all come flowing out your mouth. Speak up. No use for it inside, so just let it out. Now speak up. The tighter you keep your lip, the more you wanna say. Speak up. Now life's too short for secrets, go ahead and say it anyway. Speak up now. Speak up. Speak up, speak up now. Speak up, speak up, speak up.
All right, that was Speak Up again. I'm going to put that in the car tonight. I think it will speak volumes to my sister as well. So tell me, what is in your future, near future? Are you currently in the studio? Are you touring? Or you've got shows? Or are you writing? What's going on right now with you?
I've been writing a lot. I haven't been doing many shows because I'm focused more on producing some more stuff and the writing end of it. I'm in the middle of a couple of different projects right now, a couple of EPs that are a little different than my usual, like Tim Stout, funky kind of upbeat sound, and as well as some singles.
Diversity, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So where can we find all that stuff?
You can find me everywhere at Tim Stout Music, TikTok, Instagram. TimStoutMusic.biz is my website. Right. I have merch, music, video, a tip jar as well. And you can find me on Bandcamp. You can buy my stuff directly through Bandcamp.
I want everyone to listen. If you find your favorite artists, independent artists, make sure you utilize those tip jars, because we work our butts off, our asses off, for a little of nothing, because we're passionate about it. And if you love that artist, make sure to support them in the tip jar. It's very important, especially during COVID. I know so many of my friends that tried to do like house shows and stuff just to keep the music there for people. And you know, people need to support. So tell me, you recently got married, right?
Yeah.
When was
October
that?
1st, 2022. So we've been married less than a year. Yeah.
Got it. Ooh, okay. Big plans for anniversary number 1?
Yeah, I think we're going to be taking a little trip, maybe across Virginia, keep it kind of local-ish,
Yeah,
you know.
nice.
So yeah, and it's been lovely. She's been a big part of the music. Obviously, when we first got engaged, there was just a wellspring of songs.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I had written a song for her to propose to her, and then we took it into the studio and got a whole string section on it, and we were able to walk down the aisle to it at our wedding. So
can I find? Oh my gosh, that's so romantic. That's really cool. Can I find that anywhere?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
But if you follow the email list and all that kind of stuff on Instagram, I will certainly be putting it out soon. So
good. I just subscribed to your email list today, so I'll be looking forward to it, and we'll get that into rotation too when that comes out.
Great.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear that. I think that's romantic. That's like who writes a song to propose to somebody, really?
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
good.
the music is part of our story. So
that's right. That's right. So with that said, we're going to talk about the third song. This is Make Me Want to Move. This is your new single release. I've been excited to tell everybody about. Let's talk about that song. It's definitely, to me, a summer song. It's a fun song. It makes me want to move. So tell us about that song.
Yeah. I guess it kind of came from a dream. Sometimes the melodies just kind of come to me while I'm sleeping, and I got myself up. I was full of energy, and I got that initial like, ooh, 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 kind of idea down with the guitar. And like you said about the hook, right? It's kind of the core of the song. So I built that hook around the guitar, and I just had this song that I absolutely love, took it into production with Rich, and he did a great job with production. And it's like that, we just have this great summer song.
I think I spoke to you about this previously, but I was first hearing these songs. I'm like, who is singing those harmonies? Like, they blend so well. And I realized it was you doing that. You can sing that high falsetto. I've never been able to do that. That is cool. That is something that a lot of people are doing right now,
Yeah.
But you got it mastered.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Prince. So he's a big influence on my music and the funkier stuff. And he could do it like nobody's business. So I gave it a shot early on when writing songs, and it just kind of stuck. And I love singing up there. So
it's so good. Oh, so good. Okay, you guys, nobody's going to want to miss this podcast and the music. Also, don't forget to go to I know you're on TikTok, Instagram, and then we've got give them your website one more time, your official website.
timstoutmusic.biz, B-I-Z. Yeah.
Great. I hope you come back and join us again when you got more releases. And it's been my privilege, Tim. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And I'm glad that we connected. I throw stuff out there, and I hope that independent artists will find me, because I just love finding out their story and sharing it with as many people as we can. So my best to you. Good luck with the new releases, and we will stay in touch. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe to his email list so you can stay, on top of everything he's doing, because I don't know, next time I talk to him, I think we're going to hear more of a household name. So with that said, thanks for joining me with the Indie Music Room. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast as well, so you will never miss an episode. You guys have a great 4th of July and a good summer, and we'll see you next month. Tim, my privilege. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Come here, it's time I told you I can't get you out of my head. Unclear if fate would have it, or maybe it was something you said. I can't deny I'm getting butterflies, and they won't stop coming. I'm getting high, looking in your eyes, like my whole body's humming. I've never been much for dancing till I met you. Now when you're coming through, you make me wanna move. You put me in a trance, and I like it too. Somebody burning lighter than a bubble on the breeze. When you're touching me, deep in the heat of the moment. Yeah, you're my fantasy. I never felt so free. I can't deny I'm getting butterflies, and they won't stop coming. I'm getting high, looking in your eyes, like my whole body's humming. I've never been much for dancing till I met you. Now when you're coming through, you make me wanna move. You put me in a trance and I like it too. Somebody clear the room. You make me wanna move. Me shiver, baby, you make me shake. You make me see just how much I can take. I come alive with all that we do. You know it's true, you make me wanna move. I'd never been much for dancing till I met you. Now when you're coming through, you make me wanna move. You put me in a trance and I like it too. Somebody clear the room. You make me wanna move. You make me shiver, baby. You make me shake me You make me shiver, baby. You make me shake.
You've been listening to the Indie Music Room with Heather Kelly. Be sure to listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on FortDodgeRadio.com and subscribe for all our past and upcoming shows. The Indie Music Room is a production of FortDodgeRadio.com.